The Republican-controlled House is pushing a historic effort to honor President Trump with bills that include putting Trump on money and carving his likeness on Mount Rushmore. Benjamin Franklin may have made scientific breakthroughs, invented the stove and helped found the United States, but did he usher in a golden age for the country? That's why President Donald Trump, not Franklin, deserves to be on the $100 bill, according to Texas Republican Representative Brandon Gill. Gill's proposal is part of the Golden Age 2025 bill that's headed to the House for consideration. It's just one of 5 bills Republicans have introduced in the House over the past 2 months to honor President Trump since he began his second term. Other bills would make Trump's birthday a federal holiday, rename Dulles International Airport after Donald J. Trump, engrave his likeness on Mount Rushmore and create a new currency with a maximum denomination of $250 featuring President Trump. While the chances of these bills passing are slim, experts say they show the extent to which Republicans are willing to go to please and honor President Trump. What we have to do is demonstrate that Congress supports the president, that we believe in his mission, Gill said. We believe in the mission to bring America to a golden age, and I think the bill I've put forward is a great way to demonstrate that support. Some scholars of American history are skeptical of the Republican bills honoring President Trump. Princeton University professor Sean Willans called it an attempt to turn a sitting president into a cult figure, but for many Republicans, President Trump is truly a man worthy of reverence in their eyes. He took a bullet for us, said Republican Representative Addison McDowell, who introduced the bill to rename Dulles Airport. They tried to put him in jail. President Trump is a man who doesn't give up, he doesn't give up, and he's going to save the country. In addition, explaining his proposal, McDowell added that Dulles Airport is not currently providing the most pleasant experience for all passengers and who better to fix that than Donald Trump. Republican Representative Joe Wilson made a complicated argument when he proposed printing a $250 bill with President Trump's image. According to him, this is a way to express gratitude for what the president has done for the country and draw public attention to the 250th anniversary of the United States independence next year. Wilson said he appreciates President Trump's efforts to secure the border and cut taxes to create jobs, and that those efforts should be honored. I'm working very closely with a lot of different organizations to promote the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding, and it's going pretty well, he said. There are no rules against honoring sitting presidents. For example, several schools and streets were named after President Barack Obama while he was in office. A street in Hialeah, Florida, was also renamed in honor of Mr. Trump last December. However, that is the job of local governments, not Congress. Federal lawmakers have honored a living former president before. The Republican-controlled Congress in 1998 proposed naming Washington National Airport after President Ronald Reagan. It was one of several efforts at the time to honor Mr. Reagan after he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Former Republican Representative Matt Salmon led the effort to put Reagan's portrait on Mount Rushmore in the late 1990s, but noted that the president was not in office at the time. Trump is clearly in office, and I don't think it's appropriate to do this while a president is still in office, Salmon said. The United States has seen strong waves of veneration for presidents like Washington, Lincoln, and Reagan, but the House has rarely introduced bills honoring a living president, especially one who was in office, according to Rutgers University historian David Greenberg. Usually, Greenberg said, there is a period of reflection on a president's legacy after he or she leaves office. The current Republican effort, he said, is part of a political calculation to assert power and send a message to critics and opponents of President Trump that they are relatively powerless at this time. I'm not crazy about Reagan, but at least he won 2 elections by a landslide, Greenberg added. For Trump, it seems a little odd. For President Trump, he has not expressed support for any of the Republican efforts to honor him, and those involved insist he had no part in initiating them. The president is not calling members of Congress and saying, go out there and praise me by introducing a bill. He's not doing that, said Representative Troy Nehls, one of Trump's most ardent supporters on Capitol Hill and co-sponsor of Gill's bill. This is just members taking the initiative to show their love and respect for the greatest president of our lifetime. In fact, some of the bills honoring President Trump are facing difficulties. The National Park Service says there is no suitable rock to add the president's portrait to Mount Rushmore. In addition, the plan to print a $250 bill with Trump's face on it would be blocked by an 1866 law that prohibits the image of a living person on U.S. currency, but Representative Gill insists that changing the law to honor President Trump is completely worthy. He's done more in the last 2 months than most presidents do in 4 years or 8 years, Gill said. So I think we should give the president credit.